Hello and welcome back to the channel. In my previous video, I gave you two of my most favourite simple to use tools and techniques to help you regulate your nervous system the minute you notice that you've been triggered. Those tools will help you bring your nervous system back to baseline so that you immediately feel calmer and more in control. In that video, I promised a further set of simple strategies to help you overcome stress and anxiety and to build your resilience. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm Jo Banks. I've been a professional executive coach for almost 15 years, and I'm sharing what I know. Before I get into the detail of today's topic, I would be so incredibly grateful if you could just take a moment to like, comment, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because it really does make such a massive difference to helping me build this channel. So I really appreciate it if you do that. Before we start, if you haven't seen the previous video, I recommend going back and having a quick watch, especially if you're feeling triggered, nervous, and anxious. I explain two really simple techniques that will make a massive difference. I've also done a few videos on the nervous system and the fight, flight, freeze stress response, including why it's difficult to think straight when we're triggered. So if you haven't seen those and want to understand more about the biology and neuroscience behind the stress response, I suggest going back and watching those afterwards. Again, I'll leave those links below. So let's kick this one off with meditation, self-hypnosis, and NSDR. Meditation, self-hypnosis, and NSDR, which stands for non-sleep deep rest, all of these practices are powerful tools for managing stress and anxiety, especially in the long term. At their core, these techniques focus on being present in the moment, cultivating awareness and training the mind to observe thoughts and feelings without judgment. There are so many clinical studies on the benefits of these practices that it's really tough to ignore. I use all three of these techniques frequently, but they all do kind of slightly different things. So I think it's good to have a mixture of them in your weekly routine. Let's look first at self-hypnosis. A lot of people are really scared of self-hypnosis for some reason. It blows my mind how much misinformation there is out there about hypnosis in general, but I won't go into that here. However, I do know that self-hypnosis has had a massively positive impact on my well-being since I started doing it. Must be 20 years ago now. Self-hypnosis is incredibly easy. Find a recording you like, and I'll recommend a couple of my favourites in a minute. Get comfortable in a room where you won't be interrupted. Lie down or sit comfortably. Put headphones on and simply relax and listen. That's it. That's all you need to do. If you fall asleep, that's fine too. It still goes into your subconscious, which is where the change occurs. And that's what we want. We want it to go into the subconscious. So when to listen to your self-hypnosis? Some people like to listen at bedtime, which is a really good time because it gives your brain something positive to focus on as you sleep. Others like to do it as a break at lunchtime, and some when they woke up. Me, I tend to wake up about 5 o'clock in the morning. So I will grab my phone, I'll plug in some earphones, otherwise they drop out in the bed, and put a playlist on and fall back to sleep again. That works really well for me. I don't do it every day, but at least 2 or 3 times a week I'll do that. One thing that it's important for me to point out is that you can't just do it once and expect to see a massive difference in your thoughts or feelings. This stuff is gym for your brain. You don't expect to go to the gym once and you're fit for the rest of your life. Self-hypnosis and meditation are the same. It's the cumulative effect. So whose recordings do I use? Well, I highly recommend any of the recordings by Paul McKenna. His fantastic books all have self-hypnosis recordings attached, and I believe some of them are available on YouTube, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I will leave the link to his digital products below. I absolutely love Paul McKenna. I've done a considerable amount of training with him over the years, and in fact, I wouldn't be doing what I do now. And indeed, I would not be where I currently am in terms of my life in general if it wasn't for him. The other person I highly recommend and listen to frequently is Andrew Johnson. Andrew has lots of apps available that you can download on topics such as managing stress, healing, getting fit, building confidence, not panicking, and beating procrastination, to name but a few. He is brilliant and his apps are incredibly useful. Next, we have NSDR, which again stands for non-sleep deep rest. I came across NSDR after listening to Andrew Huberman, who has his own YouTube NSDR protocol. I'll leave the link below. NSDR includes yoga nidra, and no, I am not suggesting you twist yourself into a noodle. NSDR and yoga nidra are specific guided meditations clinically proven to reduce stress and aid relaxation in as little as 10 minutes. So, if you're not getting restful nighttime sleep, topping up during the day with just 10 minutes of NSDR can make a massive difference to your physical health and your cognitive functioning, which declines significantly if you aren't getting enough quality sleep. To do NSDR, as with self-hypnosis, you sit or lie somewhere safe where you won't be interrupted, put your headphones on, relax and follow the instructions. If you fall asleep, that's fine too. I'll leave two of my favourite NSDR recordings, they're YouTube videos, one with Ali Boothroyd and the other with Andrew Huberman, in the description below. Next, we have meditation. There are so many different ways to meditate, and I know it can be challenging for some people, especially if, like me, you have a really overactive, overthinking mind. However, I do have some top tips for starting a meditation practice that have really helped me. So number one, start small. Instead of thinking that you have to sit somewhere cross-legged for an hour or more, start by just doing 2 to 5 minutes a day. Number two, find a quiet space. Sit comfortably, does not have to be cross-legged, and focus on your breath. I don't recommend lying down though. We do tend to fall asleep when we do that. When thoughts arise, which they will, simply acknowledge them without any attachment and gently guide your attention back to your breath. Number three, your mind will wander. Again, just gently guide it back to your breathing and keep bringing it back, no matter how many goes that takes. You haven't failed by doing this. On the contrary, every time you bring your awareness back to your breath, you're doing it right. You're not rubbish at it. Just keep doing it. Keep bringing your thoughts back to your breathing. Number four, try to do it at the same time every day. That way your brain gets used to the routine. Our brains love routine, and it will help build your practice if your brain knows that, say, 9 p.m. every night, you sit down and concentrate on your breathing. Gratitude meditation. Gratitude meditation is an excellent tool if you're struggling with the breathing technique. Instead of focusing on breathing, all you do is reflect on the things that you're grateful for. This is a brilliant tool, a brilliant thing to do before you go to bed. Go back hour by hour through your day and pick out everything that you're grateful for during that day. Not only does this give your brain something positive to focus on while you're asleep, but over time it trains your brain to look for the positives in life rather than the negatives. Over time, this practice can significantly positively impact your mental health and well-being. Meditation apps. Of course, there are some fantastic apps out there. I think I've tried most of them by now, but Calm, Headspace, Waking Up and Reverie are great ones that I highly recommend. By the way, I am not getting paid for any of the recommendations I'm making in this video. I'm just sharing what I know has worked for me and my clients. Next, we're going to look at journaling and expressive writing. I've always found journaling an incredibly useful tool when I've had tough stuff going on that I can't seem to make sense of. It can be such a therapeutic outlet for managing stress and anxiety. Journaling allows you to express your thoughts and emotions and concerns, helping you to declutter your mind and gain a perspective on challenging situations that you might not have otherwise seen. So, how does it work? Well, we can't process difficult things when they're stuck in our heads. It's impossible. So, talking to somebody about our problems, or if that's not an option, writing them down is clinically proven to have massive beneficial effects. Again, I have to bring the brilliant Andrew Huberman into this. He recently did a podcast on the benefits of a particular journaling protocol for managing extremely stressful or disturbing past experiences, including PTSD. I'm not going to go into that here, but I will leave the link below if you want to go back and listen to that. In this video, I'm going to focus on 2 types of journaling that I know have massively helped me and my clients. First is gratitude journaling. Start or end your day by writing down the things you're grateful for. And on this one, I'd prefer you to handwrite. This practice shifts your focus away from the stressors to positive aspects of your life, fostering a more optimistic outlook. Like the gratitude meditation I mentioned earlier, going back through your day hour by hour and seeking out what you're most grateful for can have massive benefits. I recommend seeking out new things daily and not simply writing the same things every day, like you're grateful for your son or your daughter or your spouse or your job. Try and pick things out that are really meaningful from the day you've just finished or the previous day if you're doing it in the morning. It also helps if you can feel the emotion of gratitude as you're writing. Next, we have a particular favourite of mine, and that's emotional release writing. Set aside time to write freely about your emotions without censoring or judging your thoughts. This is particularly useful for people who really struggle with opening up and who struggle with the thought of going to therapy and talking about their problems. I've taught this to quite a few men now who find it really useful. You can either pick a particular issue concerning you, either in the past, the present, or the future, or you can write more broadly about how you're feeling and what's working, what's not working, and what's going on in your life in general. This process can provide clarity, release pent-up feelings, and offer insights into managing stress triggers. As you do this exercise, don't try and monitor your spelling, grammar, or sentence structure. It doesn't matter. Just get it out. No one else is going to read it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I used to say that you should handwrite when you're doing this exercise, but Andrew Huberman says that whether you write or type, it doesn't matter. Just get it out. Now, this is an important point. If you've been writing about difficult stuff, I don't recommend you going back and rereading it at some point in the future. Once it's out, you can delete it, or if you've handwritten it, burn it or shred it. Doing that alone can be incredibly cathartic. The reason why I recommend doing this and not going back is returning and rereading it can re-traumatize you and bring back all the emotions you felt when you first wrote it, even if you're reading it years later. Our nervous system doesn't recognize time, and our minds can't tell the difference between that thing that happened 20 years ago and it happening right now. Rereading something that you wrote when you were in a highly emotional state can trigger your stress response in precisely the same way you felt triggered when you first wrote it. The wrap up. Stress and anxiety are inevitable parts of life, but they don't have to control it. By integrating these practical tools plus the ones I mentioned in the previous video, so the exercise and the breathing techniques, into your daily or weekly routine, you can effectively start to manage any strong emotions and thoughts and behaviors and start to really build that resilience. Remember that consistency is vital. Start small. Experiment with the different techniques I've given you here and find what works for you. With dedication and practice, these tools can become invaluable assets in your journey towards a more balanced and peaceful life. For me, I do all of the techniques I've mentioned in both videos, and I do them regularly. Some I do every day, others I do at least weekly. These are the basics for me. I also eat well, drink plenty of water, and take my supplements. If I don't do a combination of all of these things, it may creep up on me slowly, but I'll start to feel unwell at some point. These are all small changes that anyone can make to improve their physical and mental health. The hardest part of anything that I've shared with you is remembering to do them, especially when you feel calm and in control. One thing I notice is that people start to do all of these things, they feel so much better, and then they forget to do them. Then guess what happens? They slip back. And these things are gym for your brain. You don't go to the gym once and you're fit for the rest of your life. These tools are exactly the same. We have to practice them. What next? No matter what's happening in your life right now, building some or all of these techniques from this and the previous video into your daily or weekly routine is critical for building and maintaining long-term resilience. Combined, they will help you manage your nervous system to feel calmer and more in control of your life. I only ask that you try them and not just once. The things I've mentioned in this video are cumulative in their effects. If there are any tools you like to use that I haven't covered here, or if there's something you'd like me to discuss that I haven't done already, please leave it in the comments section below. I read everything and genuinely love interacting with you. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. Finally, thank you to everyone who watches until the very end, and thank you so much for your continued support. It means the absolute world to me.